Look at love, music getting. In fact, that's where music comes from. Some of it's just transcendental. Some of it's just really new. But I love it when you sing to me. You can sing me anything. Boxers, things were all too young to know. I love it when you give me you ought to give me everything. Love it when you give me you ought to give me everything. You ought to give me everything.
How about that driving? Got hay fever on the front row. Allergies. I'm not crying, you're crying.
Ladies and gentlemen, please switch off your phones as well. One of the most understated yet deepest relationships in human life is that between a caring father and his loving daughter. And one of the rare occasions when this relationship is publicly acknowledged is at a wedding ceremony such as this. In this symbolic act today, a father hands his daughter to the one man he believes will love and care for her as well as he has done until this day. John, Heather's father, represents his family, but in this significant gesture today he symbolises his own personal love for Heather, his daughter. So John, mindful of these values, I now ask, do you give Heather to Steve with your love and your blessing for their future happiness together as man and wife? John, if you'd like to take your seat, please. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marie McIntyre Thompson. I'm an independent family civil celebrant. I'm here today, invited by Steve and Heather, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here where we gather to witness the public celebration of their marriage. Here this afternoon, Steve and Heather publicly claim their love to the world and commit themselves to each other in seeking to continue to grow together throughout their future, and we're here to celebrate their love and their commitment with them both. This afternoon is not so much about a piece of paper which makes a marriage, it's about what marriage means to Steve and Heather and what they mean to each other. Their hopes, their aspirations for the future together as husband and wife. This ceremony gives social recognition to a union that's already taken place, the union of their hearts. Two hearts, but beating as one. Steve and Heather see this ceremony today as a stronger commitment to their relationship, They invite you, their family and friends, to share this moment with everyone they care about and call upon your acknowledgement and support, not just for today, but throughout their married life together. They know they love each other. They could not be happier with anyone else. In fact, they're so in love they're prepared to spend the rest of their lives together. Steve and Heather have what they describe as a special romance, and those in the relationship business like myself would describe their story as something that really was meant to be. When meeting this lovely couple for the first time, it was clear to me how much they gelled together, and they're so in tune with each other. I asked Steve how he first met Heather. This is what he told me. Heather and I were set up on a blind date by my best man, Paul Carter. I say blind date, but with social media these days, it never really is blind. I did take a look at her Facebook profile picture, and it didn't take too many photographs for me to agree to go along to the date. Heather walked into the front door of our house holding a bottle of wine that had no lid, and of course, me being the gentleman that I am, I offered Heather a glass, to which she replied, "Nah, I'll drink it out of the bottle." At that point, Steve thought, she'll do. They went out on a date and Steve said, "I must confess I was nervous. She was so beautiful, intelligent, she could hold a conversation with anyone, and she knew how to drink. She played me perfectly, kept me at a distance, but just close enough to be interested. At one point I actually thought about calling it a night because I didn't think she was interested. 3 years later, it is still to this day the best decision I ever made of not going home." After that night, it was a few days until we met again on another date, and Heather had her kind of boyfriend to end it with. I had my kind of girlfriend to end it with. Probably all know who that was. Within 2 months, I had finally met her family. She'd accompanied me to a friend's wedding in Newcastle, and we had said that we were no longer each other's kind of partner. We were official. We moved in together in December, and we bought our first house in February, adding to our first member of the family to the household in August, which was Phoebe, our dog, and we've never looked back. We now have our second edition, which is Cassie. We certainly have our hands full. Has Cassie been hiding? Oh, Cassie's there. Oh, bless. The couple's first holiday together was 2 weeks in Italy, where romantically Steve took Heather up in a hot air balloon. A year later, Heather, being a medical student at the time, was sent to Malawi on an elective. Steve decided to fly over and link this with a special holiday together, as he'd already missed her birthday. Heather always stayed with friends, but in this time she was in Harare, not Harare. And then at the Safari Lodge on the Zambezi River, where he asked her to share a few special sunrises, but this one was special, as unbeknown to her, he had bought and brought along a bespoke keyring with the date of the 28th of August 2018 engraved on it. When he gave it to Heather, she just thought he had put that date on instead of the birthday date to remember this very special holiday. Unknown to Heather, Steve had been awake half the night waiting for this moment. And as the sun was rising in this magical place, he got down nervously on one knee and asked her to marry him. Of course, we're all standing here today, or sitting here today, because Heather obviously said yes. Afterwards, Steve went back to bed, as he was on his own, as he was obviously shattered from the night before. Heather, being Heather, had a few drinks early around the bar and had to wait for a decent time to ring family and friends back in the UK. Eventually, when Steve awoke, they lazed around the swimming pool, downing 2 bottles of good champagne with the beautiful scenery of a few elephants walking between the pool and the sun loungers. A magical moment that will stay in their hearts forever, for more than one reason. I asked Heather what strengths she sees in Steve, and this is what she told me. Heather said that Steve has lots of friends and is a great laugh, a classic Geordie. She told me that Steve adds a whole new dimension to her life and brings her joy that she didn't know she was capable of feeling. Heather told me that Steve makes her laugh as he makes others laugh, always making jokes. But while he was the biggest heart and he goes over and beyond and above of making her feel so special, that every day he has a capability of making her feel happy. And even loved in the hardest of times together. In Heather's own words, I'm so excited to spend the rest of my life with him. Heather also told me that Steve likes to run, especially after a few pints of Guinness. I think Steve may have a story or two to tell afterwards about that line. I asked the couple what their dreams and aspirations are for the future, and they both agreed they'd love to have children in the foreseeable future. And Steve and Heather are grounded and mindful. They're entering into this marriage today, but they're adamant they only plan to do this once, and they're totally committed both to each other, to their marriage, and to making it work. I asked Steve what strengths he sees in Heather, and in Steve's own words, Heather, although being far too intelligent for her own good, makes me a better person. She has introduced me to new cultures, challenged my opinions, but only to make me think about alternatives that I never considered before, and banned me from eating meat and dairy. I'm so proud of the person she is, kind-hearted, caring, loving, and I'm so proud of how hard she has worked to follow her dreams of becoming a doctor. She is not only the most beautiful person I've ever seen or set eyes on in my life, but she's the nicest, funniest, and wildest woman I've ever met. I couldn't wish for a better person to call my wife. I love her with all my heart. She's perfect. I'm sure you'll all agree, knowing this lovely couple, they're both perfect for each other. There's no doubt at all in my mind that Steve and Heather have all the essentials ingredients for a long and happy marriage. So as they look to the future together, they hope for a life which continues to follow the path they've already laid, a life full of fun, laughter and travel, enjoying the warmth and friendship they already share together, but also a future which will include sharing a loving, nurturing and supportive home. The essence of a loving relationship is depicted beautifully in the reading which Rebecca has written and, surprisingly to the couple, Heather will read for us today.
Will you still love me as much as today? Will you still think I'm beautiful in every single way? Will you still support me through the good times and the bad, and always treasure the good times we've had? Will you be there for me when times are tough, when I'm sleepwalking or feeling rough? Will you still tolerate my running when I've had too much to drink? Will a look on my face still show you what I think? I hope your future life is as amazing as today, a day that has been perfect in every single way. Your love is special, unique and free. Those who are no longer here would be so happy to see. So here's to Stephen and Heather. May they spend a happy lifetime together. If your answers are yes to all these questions, then your love will last forever.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. That was lovely, and thank you, Rebecca, for writing it. Where are we? She's gone somewhere there. Thank you for writing. It was absolutely lovely. Lovely words and very, very fitting for both of you as a couple. Now, the couple have asked me to have just a few moments reflection time, just to think about loved ones who cannot be here today. Firstly, we have Heather's granddad Bob, who met Steve and would be over the moon that they've decided to tie the knot today. Bob is sadly missed. We also remember Steve's Nana Edna, who I'm sure would give her a blessing for the lovely couple today. She too is sadly missed. And now we're going to come to the solemn part of the ceremony, which is the official commitment. A good marriage here today is a healthy blend of masculine and feminine qualities. It is a voluntary and full commitment of a couple and what they mean to each other, made in the deepest sense to the exclusion of all others, and is entered into with the desire, the hope and the firm intent that it will last forever. A commitment continually revealed in each new level of trust, each new layer of vulnerability, each new depth of love for each other. So now we come to the central part of our service today, when Steve and Heather will pledge their commitments and their statements to each other. Steve and Heather, you've come here today to declare your commitment and love for one another, and to seek the blessing and affirmation and strength for the years that lie ahead. As you stand before all those who care for you, claim their strength and their love for you, and drawing on this trust which you have placed in me today, I'll ask you to speak in truth from your heart, your commitment to marriage and to each other. Stephen, do you take Heather to be your lawful wedded wife, to love and respect her, to be honest and faithful, and to stand by her through whatever may come, so that you genuinely share your lives together?
I do.
Heather, do you take Stephen to be your lawful wedded husband, to love and respect him, to be honest and faithful, to stand by him whatever may come, so that you genuinely share your life together?
I do.
Stephen, please take Heather's hands in yours. Stephen and Heather, these are the hands which, when held together, symbolise the lifelong bond you've created. Cherish these hands and the strength, the love and the guidance that they give to each other. They will provide you throughout your married life together the trust and love you've placed in each other. And as you proclaim your love for each other, all of us wish for you a love that makes you both better, stronger people. For love strengthens and enriches. A love that continues to give you joy and zest for living, that provides you with the energy and wisdom to face all responsibilities and the challenges that life brings. Stephen, please repeat after me. Call upon family and friends present.
I call upon family and friends present
That I, Stephen,
that I, Stephen,
taken Heather
have taken Heather
to be my lawful wedded wife.
to be my lawful wedded wife.
Stephen,
Yes, I'm not married. I promise to make you happy, to make you laugh, and to always be there for you. These rings are a promise that you will never have to face the world alone. You have worked so hard to get to where you are in life, and I am so incredibly proud of the woman that you are. You have the world at your feet, and I could not be happier that you have chosen to spend the rest of your life with me. I promise to be by your side for everything that life throws in front of us and cannot wait to raise our family together. I promise to kiss your tears when you cry. I promise to praise you when you feel low. And I promise to press your bunions as hard as I can. You are the smartest, most caring, most beautiful woman in the world. In you, I see everything I want to be. You have made me a better person, and you make me know that my dreams are possible. I promise to do everything I can to make your dreams come true. I love you with all my heart. My heart is yours into eternity.
3 years ago I met you and my life changed forever. You became my best friend and today I get to become your wife. I promise to share all of life's experiences with you, to laugh with you in the good times and to support you in the bad. I promise to grow with you and stand by your side, to live a wonderful life together, to have a lifetime of adventures and never lose sight of our dreams. I promise to love you always, even though you have fungal toenails and you don't know how to wipe away skid marks. But most importantly, I promise to live every day showing you the love, kindness and support that you've shown me. My heart is yours into eternity.
So in the words of William Shakespeare, now join your hearts and with your hands, your hearts together. Paul, would you like to bring up the rings, please? That's the hardest part, Paul, over. Steve and Heather, a wedding ring is a treasured and valued possession. It is a circle of life. It has no beginning and no end. It demonstrates a continuing bond and symbolises equality and infinite commitment, which are the foundation stones of marriage. Therefore, I now ask you to validate your pledges in front of your family and friends with your exchange of rings.
Heather, I give you this ring
As a symbol of my never-ending love,
as a symbol of my never-ending love,
devotion and trust,
and pride,
that you are my wife.
that you are my wife.
That's okay, that's okay. Heather, could you say to Stephen? Stephen, I give you this ring
Stephen, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my never-ending love
as a symbol of my never-ending love
and devotion and trust
and devotion and trust
and pride that you are my husband.
and pride that you are my husband.
Those who are joined together in marriage, let no one seek to part. May these rings be a sign of the covenant by which Stephen and Heather have bound themselves to be on this their wedding day. And so Steve and Heather have made public their intentions to spend the rest of their lives together, and have symbolised this in the taking of vows and the blessing and the exchanging of these rings. By being here today to share this celebration of commitment, love and promise, your guests, family and friends too, are confirming their support of you both as a couple and in sharing of their friendship and offering of their hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen and Heather earlier registered their marriage, which is the legal requirement of this country. But before us now, they have pledged their love and commitment publicly and reaffirmed their never-ending love for one another. It therefore gives me great pleasure to pronounce them man and wife. Steve, you may kiss your bride. Steve and Heather, always treat yourself and each other with respect and remind yourself often of today and what brought you together. Give the highest priority to the tenderness, gentleness and kindness that your commitment deserves. When frustration and difficulty or fear test your relationship, remember to focus on what is right and not what is wrong. In this way, you can ride out the storms when clouds hide the sun of the face in your lives, and remember that even if you lose sight of it for a moment, the sun is still there and is still shining. And if each of you takes responsibility for the quality of your life together, it will be marked forever by an abundance of joy. We now come to the wedding blessing. Now you will feel no rain, for each of you will be the shelter to the other. Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be the warmth to the other. Now there will be no loneliness, for each of you will be companion to the other. Now you are two persons, but there's only one life before you. May beauty surround you both in the journey ahead and through all the years. May happiness be your companion and your days together be good and long upon the earth. In a few moments, we're going to go through the walled gardens, and there's a photo book which is located inside the walled gardens, and we would invite each of you to write your own messages to this lovely couple throughout the course of the rest of the day and the evening. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding, as it gives me great pleasure to present to you Mr. and Mrs.
Cassie, what's up?
sailed the 7 seas, flown the whole blue sky, but I've returned with haste to where my love does lie. No matter where I go, I will come back to my English rose, for nothing can ever tempt me from she. I've searched the secret mists, I've climbed the highest peaks, and caught the wild wind home to hear a soft voice speak. No matter where I roam, I will return to my English rose, for no bonds can ever keep me from she. I've been to ancient worlds, I've scoured the whole universe, caught the first train home to be at her side. No matter where I roam, I will return to my English rose, for no bonds can ever keep me from she.
Right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right, I've never spoken to such a big audience before, so I hope this goes all okay. Just like to start to say thank you everyone for coming here on this very special occasion, and thank you to Graham, Deborah, Angie, and everybody else in helping to organise this celebration of marriage for Heather and Steve. I'm going to start by saying how proud I am of Heather for all her accomplishments and achievements. For when she sets her mind to something, by Jove, she certainly makes it work. I'm so fortunate and pleased that I've been able to with her from the very start, from attending jiu-jitsu classes to taking piano lessons to listening to her play cello at the East Riding Orchestra, and even watching a game or two of football. It's been so good. She's combined all that with her academic studies, achieving remarkable grades in GCSEs, A-levels, and more recently, her university degree. Getting her first in international medicine, and and even the biggie of becoming a doctor.
Good choice.
You're right. From her late teens, I've been in awe of Heather, of how she's also managed to arrange all the travelling around the world. To name but a few, but Uganda, India, Bali, Thailand, Mozambique, and then Zimbabwe. Heather showed her making something happen mindset when she climbed Kilimanjaro, walked along parts of the Great Wall of China, and even got home after falling and splitting her head open in Thailand. Thank you to Rachel as well for that. In Uganda, she made a massive difference helping to build education blocks. First as a helper, and then as a leader to a group of around 25 to 30 students. I certainly wouldn't have put her as a get your hands and nails dirty person, but there she is. The caring side of her definitely came out, and seeing the happy smiles on all the kids' faces must have been so inspiring. Further evidence of Further evidence of this is also that her love of kids is while she was completing a university course, she also cared for and child-minded several other children. I remember many a visit home being shorter than expected, just so she could go back and care for them as well. I've mentioned about Heather's travelling and how she manages to get everywhere, but I think I should take some credit for that. There was one time that I arranged for Heather and Jamie to go to visit my parents in Cottingham, so she got the train from Beverley to Cottingham, 2 mile walk from the station, although it wasn't that easy because the directions I gave her, I missed off the very first bit, go over the bridge. So instead of going over the bridge, they didn't and got lost. However, because of their ingenuity and level-headedness, they managed the situation admirably, getting to my dad to go and collect them eventually. Anyway, enough of our fantastic daughter. I'd just like to have a quick word about this handsome young fellow to my right here.
Who's that?
Which one was you? Steve I'm talking about.
Any of them.
Yeah, he's swept her off her feet. Steve was introduced to Heather, Angie and myself as an amazing guy, and sure enough he certainly is. Very kind-hearted, considerate and helpful, with a wicked sense of humour. I remember one time we went to see Hull City versus his beloved Newcastle. However, the seats that we had were in the Hull City end, but being a true Geordie and with the gift of the gab, he managed to persuade the stewards to let him in the Newcastle end, where he could eventually fully enjoy the eventual win, although a very lucky win for Newcastle.
You were on penalties.
Was it?
I thought you were leading that up to tell everyone that Hull had won. You won on penalties.
You were lucky to be away from our end.
Newcastle won. You won on penalties. Anyway, sorry.
Steve and Heather have very quickly become close, and even though they have been together for several months, or had been together for several months, it seemed like several years, the bond that had grown between them. I was overcome and so pleased when he asked for Heather's hand in marriage, and so was Angie. So much so, the celebrations went long into the night. Say no more. One last mention of Steve is from the recent trip to Benidorm, and what a laugh seeing him dressed first as a bride and then as in a blow-up Donald Trump costume in nappies. Cheers, Paul, that was such a laugh, that was brilliant. Cheers, mate. I'd like to make a quick mention also to Heather's great friends who have helped her become the lady she is today. These include Rachel, who has come all the way over from Australia, and I know Heather really appreciates it, and to Kaylee, who also has helped Heather throughout and arranged an amazing hen party in York last week. Thank you, Tim. Just back to a final word on Heather. She was always my beautiful daughter, and I love you so much. And as she embarks on the next exciting chapter in her amazing life, now sharing adventures with Steve, relying on each other's comfort, support, and love for each other that they have, they should remember that they can get through everything with the fun they truly generate together. It is such an honour to be known as your dad, Heather. Thank you. So please be upstanding and with me wish the new happy couple all the happiness together. Are you all going drinks? as they embark on the journey ahead as man and wife. To Heather and Steve. Thanks, John.
How to follow that? This is way more nerve-wracking than I thought it was going to be. Petrified. Just to sort myself out earlier on, I went through a few lines. Feeling a little bit better now. Thanks. Next. I think we'd all agree that the venue and the decorations are incredible. Tony Pictor, calm down, don't shit yourself. I'll start again. I think we would all agree that the venue and the decorations are incredible. Yeah. My wife, Heather, and lots of others have worked so hard to make it look as beautiful as it does. Heather and I had been speaking on the months leading up towards the wedding and agreed that the two things that would make the day extra special would be that the people we shared it with and the weather. I just want to say a massive thank you to a few people that have made a huge effort to come here today. Paul and Sue, where are you? There you are, travelling all the way down from Scotland. Thank you very much for coming. Jake and Laura. Jake. He's probably having a shit somewhere, I don't know. But Jake and Laura drove all the way up from Bristol. Thank you so much. And all the Allen family have made a massive, massive journey to come here, as well as Heather's family from Beverley, who travelled for about 12 miles just to come to here. So thanks very much for everyone that came. I do, on a serious note, want to say a thank you to a few people who really did make this day very possible. The Bank of Mum and Dad. And Angie and John. Angie and John and my mum and dad have offered us endless support and money. And even though both mothers have probably been more stressy than both of us today, maybe it's not Thursday. That was a bit stressful, wasn't it? I want to say a massive thank you to both my mum and Angie, and I've got you a little gift just to say that how much we love you and how much we appreciate everything that you've done. There's so many more people in this room who have made huge contributions to this wedding. You know who you are. We really do appreciate everything that you have done to help us. Thank you very, very much. Lastly, I'd just like to say a few things about the people who couldn't be with us today. My granddad Lol, who made a long journey down, but unfortunately he's just too much of a baldy old git to be able to stay all day. He's had to go home early. I also want to say a few things about Heather's granddad Bob. He was one of the most lovely blokes I've ever met in my life. He sadly passed away a few years ago, and he would have moved mountains to be here today. Bob was one of the most genuine, kind and kind-hearted men I've ever met in my life. Heather, he adored you so much, and I have no doubt in my mind he would be so proud of what you have achieved in your life and for the woman that you have become. And finally, my Nana Edna, who passed away last summer. She was heavily involved in my upbringing after both my mum and dad pied me off after 6 months on the hill. She was an incredible mother to 3 beautiful children and the very best Nana to 3 very sensible, intelligent grandchildren. And 1 rebel. Callum, I've no idea what happened to you. I know we both still miss them very much, and they would have made our day even more beautiful than it is. Just a toast to them. Thanks. So, enough of the soppy stuff. I thought I would tell the tale of how Heather and I met and the short but very eventful road that we have been through to get to where we are today, via the medium of rhyme. MC Viper, haha, hold tight. Anyway, I'm not going to MC, I'm sorry. So, It was back in 2016, about April time, when Paul came into the house one day. He shouted up the stairs and said, "Buddy, I think I found a girl that'll convince all your uncles you're not gay." Paul and I had been living together for the best part of 8 years, but I think he and most of the lads on that table would agree our best move was into 57 Mansion Gate. We'd created a min group of mates that I know will be close forever. And we'd had a pretty good time. But something was different here. I really wanted to go on this date. I think about a week or so had passed, and it was time for me to meet my future bride. She made her way to the famous Mansion Gate Square, knocked on the door, and when I saw her, I thought, yes, you can come inside. We've all been here before, stood in front of a total stranger, and it's very rare that the slipper never fits. But I knew something was different here. The first thing that caught my eye about Heather was her massive personality. She was stood in my doorway, looking beautiful in this revealing top, with a bottle of wine in her hand, so I obviously offered her a glass. You've heard this story before. She took a swig from the bottle and said, "Nah, I don't need one," and thought, that's my kind of lass. So we went up to Chapel Allerton, chatted, and had a few nice cocktails. I was absolutely starving, so I bought us a lovely packet of steak crisps to share. At that point, I had no idea you only ate avocados and kale. But the night went on, she played it well, and more drinks were consumed. We had some shots, and you had an old-fashioned in Jake's. And poof, we were back in my room. We all know I'm a true gent, and gentlemen never tell. But seeing as though we're already married and getting divorced is an absolute ball ache, we might as well tell everyone in this room we woke up in the same room as well. Sorry, John. Sorry, Angie. Tiptoes, honestly, you're tiptoes. We spent the next few days ending it with our kind of other halves, but then after that was sorted, we went on our second date, a nice Sunday stroll about Roundhay Park. The weather was lovely. We walked and chatted for a few hours, and then we went and met Jane, the Roundhay Fox, and had some food and a few nice drinks, and I persuaded you, heavily, to head back to the house and put a film on the box. Now, most people in the room will probably know that I'm a bit cocky, and I must say that I thought the date had gone well, and I'm probably not going to have to try. And after all my best moves, I was absolutely No, I wasn't. I was totally custard pied. Things moved pretty quickly from there, and it wasn't long until Heather came up to Newcastle to join me at Coach's wedding in Chesterley Street. Because we fancied a night after the wedding, we decided to stay in a hotel in Newcastle Centre, and I asked for a lift of my third favourite uncle, also known as Uncle Flysheet. So a few weeks later, on Maybank holiday, some of the Allen family were out for Nathan Johnson's leaving do on the Fell. I think Heather might have been a little nervous on the inside, but on the outside, you honestly couldn't tell. After our Chinese, we moved into the Black Horse for a few bevies, and I still, to this day, have no clue where Heather got this idea. I was walking back from the toilet, turned round the corner, and from absolutely nowhere, Heather started shoving her tongue right inside me dad's ear. I don't think she realised that I'd seen, but when she clocked me looking over in shock, if she could, I think she'd have dug herself a grave in the ground. Will it be... Sorry. But then when she looked back and saw my old man buckled over laughing, and I think she thought to herself, do you know what? Steve's right, his family are pretty sound. With it being bank holiday, we went for a few drinks in Jesmond and then back in the Newcastle city centre. I gave Heather the full tour. Seeing as though we had our first bite in the Bellevue at midday, I think we gave it a good dig when we called it a day around 4. Is that right? We'll try. The next morning was difficult. I was hanging, I felt sick, and I had an absolutely minging head. But that was the least of my worries when when Heather kindly pointed out at some point during the night I'd pissed the bed. I was a little bit confused because this wasn't something that happened to me very often, so I gave my mum a call because she knows how to sort this stuff out. I didn't realise how mad she would get and use this as an excuse to throw the whole mattress out. It didn't take long before Heather and I went on another date in Leeds. Again, got totally rat-arsed and woke up to the bedsheets feeling very much the same. It turns out that on that morning in Newcastle, Heather had woken up and realised, went to the bathroom, put on some clean clothes, got back into bed and created this whole plan just to pass on the blame. Pacey pants. I love you. So, Ma'am, I'm not sure if this is fresh information or if you already knew about it, but take the positives out of the situation. At least you didn't do a Tony Pictol in Benidorm. At least you didn't do a shit.
That's Tony. Classic.
Some would say that Heather had completed the more mental side of the family by meeting most of the Allens first. And although people might think the Normans are more sensible, when it comes to alcohol, John and Judith definitely know how to quench their thirst. So we all went up to the cricket club one Saturday night to watch some show, and as per most of the other stories in here, there was a fair bit of money spent behind the bar. Sensible Debs agreed to drive home, but for once she agreed to let the other 5 of us all squeeze in the car. Heather, John and Judith had been getting on so well all night, but this is when their relationship truly started. Heather was sat on John's knee, and despite her best efforts, she couldn't hold it in, and all of a sudden she just farted. It is not despite these things, it is because of these things that I am so happy to be stood up here today as husband and wife. You mean the world to me, and I cannot wait for us to add to our little family and for us to start our own little journey and create our own little life. You are my best friend. Sorry, buddy. And it really is an incredible feeling to know that we are going to be part of each other's lives forever. Now, enough of the soppiness. Thanks for listening to all my shit attempt at poetry. Let's raise a toast to us. Lots of love, Steve and Heather. Thank you, Mum. Thank you, Dad.
It's working, yeah. Now, I must warn you, there are some efforts to replicate some Geordie accents in this production, and after many, many attempts at practising, I do have the tendency to sound Jamaican. Do not be alarmed, and please do bear with me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Paul Carter. I first met Steve when I was 19, and we've been near enough inseparable ever since. We always said that we'd give each other the honour of being each other's best man, but true to form with our friendship, it was always an attempt to piss each other off, as we both knew how much we'd hate doing the speech. He assures me he only plans on doing this the once. I can only hope that Heather feels the same way. I know we can all agree on how beautiful the brides and bridesmaids look today. A fitting tribute to a beautiful day. Now, if you told me a few years ago that our Steve would be marrying a vegan doctor, despite his 2012 harem hippie phase after a month in Thailand, I would have told you that we were lying. Yes! To understand that, I want to take you on a journey to help you understand how this came to bear fruit, and how Steve graduated from a spotty teen with a waddy cock, spending 50p on a free Bento's tin pie, to the man before you today. Happily spending 10k in falafel and tofu for his vegan wedding. With the help of St Thomas More School and some questionable data protection ethics, I've acquired one of his school reports. And there's some consistent themes and subjects throughout our friendship that I would love to share. English. musical genius. Stephen has the ability to make the nicest gestures sound aggressive. You're my best fucking mate in the fucking world! Or, Heather is fucking stunning. I can't wait to kiss her fucking lips off. It's a true talent. Sex education. Now, a direct quote from both Heather and Steve, and his male school teacher. Outstanding ability at finishing first. And Stephen shows an extreme dedication to self-help and practice. Maths. Superb selective memory. Evelyn lent Steve money, and when he came round to working it out, you'd always, without doubt, end up owing Steve money. I bought you that fucking cabbage 10 fucking weeks ago, and you bought that ketchup. So what do you owe me £2.16? I wasn't going to say anything. PE. bear with me, mate, I'm sorry. Stevie really struggles to wipe his own arse. And often leaves skid marks on his boxes in the changing rooms. Debs is still buying wet wipes for him up until we graduate from university. Now, that's not really PE, but I really want to shoehorn that in.
He's horrible.
IT.
Oh, God.
IT. You asked throughout the last 10 years always come up with enthusiastic light bulb moments that we have always affectionately known as Stephen Allen ideas. Too many to mention, but his insistence on buying a PC and linking it to his TV rather than a laptop at uni sticks out. Yous are all fucking idiots buying a fucking laptop. I've got a 20-inch screen and a fucking tower and I've got DVDs. Walking in his room and watching him write a 5,000-word essay from a screen 15 feet away from him will live with me for a long time. It'll be no surprise to our parents, university was a challenge for both of us. After 3 years, we were still consistently known by lecturers and our fellow students as Geordie and his mate. Often discovering we had an exam or assignment due the next day by bumping into a peer in the nightclub and then I'm asking for a novelty photo. Despite all this learning, on a final assignment, we decided, as we always did, to choose the exact same question and complete half the essay each and share the goodness. Giving each other high fives as we left the submission room and on our way to Benidorm, like butter wouldn't melt, we had an email sitting in our inbox asking us to attend a meeting, which we missed, still totally oblivious. And then came home to a final meeting with the Dean of the University and 8 other board members reading word for word our essays on Tiger Woods' impact on modernity. Or, fucking Tiger Woods on modernity! We were both told we could not graduate with the rest of the year, and for a long period of time, we both assumed we hadn't graduated at all. And there are a couple of lovely ladies in this room who were denied their obligatory graduation photo of their sons on their mantelpiece, which, if you allow me the small self-indulgence, I would like to correct and get a couple of very big monkeys off our back. Graham, that's your thing.
Thank you.
Susie, come on.
Come on. Yes, Susie! Never actually
He's in the start now.
talking amongst yourself.
2 months later. We went up
I didn't know they had an exam. No, seriously. You got done for plagiarism, you couldn't graduate. Here we are. Paul, second thing.
The pause wasn't as obvious.
Did you graduate?
Did you?
I get one more.
You either. Congratulations!
Now, it would be remiss of me not to mention Graham, Pitts, Caesar, Pete the Meat and the Geordie lads, who I know he thinks the world of. So if you could all join me in raising a glass. You have always supported and bankrolled him, despite all his poor decisions. I would like to raise a toast to Mike Ashley. Despite all of this, Steve, you have graduated a man of distinction with first-class honours, and it's been my honour and privilege to grow up beside you. How you were forever known. Aha, Geordie Evans, mate. Holland, I could be happy with you and Heather. You both deserve the very best, and in my view, that is exactly what you have.
Hey, stop.
Before I let it slip to Heather, that all the suits are made from lamb's wool. Would you please all join me in raising a toast to the special couple and wish them a very long and happy life together?
There's one final thing. There's nothing else left to do other than go and get absolutely smashed. So please. Oh, one more thing. The little clips in front of you. Please. They're yours. Take photos of yourselves on the Polaroids. Take them home, and we're gonna cut the cake now, and then we're gonna get absolutely plastered. Thank you everybody for coming. Love you all. Thank you.
In the springtime against the golden skyline, you spoke to me at night. It started out so intensely, and with it all my senses I knew, I'm sure I knew. The only reason God gave me eyes was to see. The only reason God gave me ears was to hear your voice. And I will always love you. When the wind gets cold, I'll wrap my arms around you. We shared our dreams, their birds and many things. Never tell us all before. And I saw you smile with the tears that fell to the floor. Sure I knew. The only reason God gave me hands was to hold you. And He finally tuned the drums in my ears to hear your voice. And I will always, and I will always love you. The only reason God gave me hands was to hold you. And He finally chewed the drums in my ears to hear your voice. And I will always, and I will always love you. When the wind gets cold, one more time for the bride and groom.
She's gone.
Wherever you go, I'm going with you, babe. Going with you, babe. When I'm still, I definitely wouldn't miss a thing. When you're lost on your own and you're wondering if I'm following, just know wherever you go, I'm going with you, babe. Going with you, babe. Look at the draw, that's my lottery one. A gem at the round, I could be your finishing touch. So wherever you go, I'm going with you, babe. Going with you, baby. Wherever you go, I'm going with you, babe. Going with you, babe. Is it really like like this. See your lightning shining brightly through a haze. And little slings and arrows, smoke and mirrors, blue and icy meet my gaze. Ooh, my heart burns light with blood love, slow to get up, hard to save. You fill my head with madness, good and bad. Don't be the one who got away, got away. Wherever you go, go with you, babe, go with you, babe. And every night spent without your face has me shuddering. I color my words in a violet shade to hide the pain. And you go solo no longer. I beat that for sure. Look at the draw, you, that's my lottery one. A gem of the rough, I could be your finishing touch. So wherever you go, go with you, babe, go with you, baby. Wherever you go, go with you, babe, go with you, babe. Wherever you go with your babe, go with your babe. Wherever you go with your babe, go with your babe. I'm going with you, babe. I'm going with you now. Wherever you go with your babe.
Sit beside you in school while we paint and make you laugh. Mine was never very good. Yours looks exactly like the photograph. Looks like I'm growing up beside you. I don't always get the way you feel, but now I've learned to live with that. It's like I'm a part of something real. I was hitting the bottle, now I broke the seal. Looks like I'm growing up beside you. And the sun sets the scene while the rain misses me. And all the time I'll be growing up beside you. Oh, the sun sets the scene while the rain misses me. And all the time I'll be growing up beside you. While the rain misses me, and all the time I'll be growing up beside you. Oh, lady, looks like I'm growing up beside you. Ooh.
springtime against the golden skyline. You spoke to me at last. It started out intensely, and within all my senses I knew. I'm sure I knew the only reason God gave me eyes was to see you. The only reason God gave me ears was to hear your voice say, I will always love you. And when the wind gets cold, I'll wrap my arms around you. We shared our dreams, endeavors, and many things we never could tell us so before. I saw you smile through the tears that fell to the floor. And sure I knew the only reason God gave me hands was to hold you. And he finally tuned the drums of my ears just to hear your voice say, I will always love you. And when the wind gets cold, I'll build a fire to warm your hands. I'll wrap my arms around you, and I won't let shadows scare you in the stillness of the night. I'll be the cooling voice that tells you everything's alright. And when darkness tries to drag you down, there will be a light. And no wind and no storm and no waves can hide it. I'll help you find it, and I will always love you. And when the wind gets cold, I'll wrap my arms around you. Ooh, and I will always love you. And when the wind